All right. Thank you everyone for watching this video and learning about myself, Robert Thomas, ATU bus operator, CTA, and Eric Slater, ATU 241 bus operator as well. We're going to give you a short, brief update today on our cases and where they stand. And we have Nick Crateman as well, which is Eric Slater's attorney. So, Eric, why don't you go first?
Okay, well, I'm just going to introduce this, and as other workers get on, I hope that they speak up. And certainly, Robert, I hope you talk about some of the cases that are very public that you're helping defend. We just quickly put this video together when we found out that the Chicago Transit Authority, through its legal team, has requested the labor board through its judge to get subpoena of our communications, our text messages, their emails, and so on. Maybe Robert, you can put that up. And we thought that it would be important to raise the alarm to worker activists, unionists, supporters of democratic rights of all sorts, to know about this, and just to let people know about some of the cases going on right now before the Illinois Public Labor Relations Board. Um, Robert, you can talk about your case. I know you have one coming up on the 30th, just a few days from now. We're encouraging everyone to come out to that to stop this and other employers from interfering in our rights to organize ourselves through a union to make sure that the employer follows the law. I also have an unfair labor practice, and I hope Nick Kreitman can speak on this in a few moments. But I just want to say there's been so many hundreds, perhaps thousands of worker activists that have been targeted, and we have reached out to the labor board just simply to defend the law that that is on the books and to stop the employer from harming our rights to be able to talk to each other on the property, to be able to elect representatives of our choosing, and to be able to use our union as a tool for our interests. So I know Erek Basir is also on this call. He's an elected executive board member. I was elected to be of Local 308, the Amalgamated Trans Union. I was elected to be an executive board member for the Amalgamated Transit Union Local 241. We're brother and sister locals here in Chicago. We run the transit systems here in Chicago and in the Chicago region with some of the PACE suburban routes. We're bus operators, rail workers, rail maintenance workers, maintenance workers. We do all of the work that gets done. We are the experts of public transportation, and very few places are discussing the views and interests of workers. There's a lot of discussion about the Chicago Transit Authority and what it's going to be funding, the poor service, but there's very little opportunity for workers to speak on our situation, and we're seeing why that's the case. When we try to discuss it, we try to organize our what we think about it as a group, we get hit down with it. So I wanted to let a few other people speak. Erek, do you want to say a few words before we keep going, and let the lawyer talk? Um, Robert, do you want to say anything further?
Eric Bazir can go first if he's ready. If not, I'll go ahead and say a couple words.
I have filed probably a dozen or more unfair labor practice charges against CTA mismanagement over the past couple years. Never, ever have they subpoenaed me for email, text, social media conversations with any CTA worker. Never. And to request 2 years worth. These bastards are strictly interested in one thing: killing 2, 3, or 4 birds with one stone. And we're not going to give it to them. And I filed my unfair labor practice charge about this overreach by the outlaw department at the CTA last night. And I filed a grievance this morning. I went public with video. I went public with my blog. We have to stand up and speak up about this and demand that our union leadership condemn it. Yeah, me, Slater, Robert Thomas, Erek Struck, Andre Thompson, Tommy Sams, and whoever else these people don't like are controversial. But if they do this to me, if they are able to get away with taking email and text messages in private conversations and consultations with ATU members, they will do this with every one of them, even those union officials that maintain good relationships with the management and hug them and dance with them and kiss them, make deals with them. Even they will be vulnerable to this. This is a straight up union busting operation, and we're calling it for what it is. Listen carefully, everyone, to what Erek and Robert are explaining, and understand that the CTA wants whatever trust union members have in their leadership to be crushed. And right now, I'm the only one who's elected and still employed at the CTA that workers on the rails and even bus trust. And they want to make those members think that they can't trust any union official, even the ones they trust, because they'll say, we want to see your emails and your text messages. Thank you.
Thanks, Erek. Robert, you want to say a few things before we ask the lawyer to come in? Nicholas to come in?
Yeah. So I'll just show the subpoena, the original subpoena request here that came to my lawyer via email, and it's coming strictly from CTA Law Department. Attorney Alicia Chambers, whose address is 567 West Lake Street, which is CTA headquarters. We are hereby required to produce all communications between Erek Bazir and myself from 2023 to present, documents or communications showing myself my phone number that I use from 2023 till now, and documents and communications showing phone numbers that I have on file for Erek Bazir from 2023 to present. So this is official. This is official. This came directly from Alicia Chambers, lawyer at CTA Law Department, 6th floor. So in response to that, Erek Bazir filed this unfair labor practice charge yesterday because this is unprecedented and illegal, and it's unnecessary. Erek Bazir was just a witness. He was a witness for 30 seconds for a document that I tried to give my manager in person. That's all. That's his only involvement with this case. He has no other involvement, and for CTA to pull this crap is really shocking. So that's all I'm gonna say at this point. I will let Erek's lawyer speak.
Okay. Real quick, just can you go back to the previous slide, the one from the CTA with their address on it, real quick? Yeah, that one. If you notice on the top, it's coming from the Illinois Labor Relations Board itself. The CTA doesn't have the authority to do this. It's actually requesting the labor board to do it. So that's, I haven't seen this either, and I would really like to.
Hey, Erek, I would probably,
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. You go ahead and speak. You want to bring up some of the history of the labor board, and
sure. Just on this point. Look, Erek, this is crazy. Your instincts are right. Your instincts are absolutely right. This is broad overreach. It's running roughshod over union member union representative privilege. It's an invasion of privacy. You know, I would suggest, you know, filing a motion to quash. That might also be directed to the general counsel's office. But again, you know, I'll let your attorney handle the procedural aspects of it. You know, I haven't had a chance to review this, and you know, you have your own very competent counsel. So I'll just leave it at that. Now, Erek asked me to speak and provide an update on his case. Unfortunately, what has been going on in Erek Slater's case has just been an absolute travesty. It's just been an absolute collapse of the promise of the Illinois Public Labor Relations Act in terms of guaranteeing a fair, rational trial. What happened at the hearing, we had 5 credible, 5 eyewitnesses that all stated Erek was doing nothing more than being what every union representative should aspire to be, which is a leader who listens to his workers. He was on the work site asking workers what their concerns were during one of the most chaotic times there has probably ever been in the history of the CTA bus service. Between the pandemic, between the George Floyd situation, I can't think of a time that would have been more urgent to have a union representative on a bus garage. In total disregard for the testimony, the administrative law judge completely credited the CTA manager who was reporting on the phone to VP of Bus Operations Naranjo and put forward the same completely bogus pretext as they did in the last case they lost about instigation of work stoppage or strike. Now, it's important to note in Erek's case, they can't even characterize consistently what they're accusing Erek of having done. At some points during the hearing and at some points during the administrative law judge's decision, they characterize it as engaging in strike activity. Then there is no strike. Then it's promoting a strike. Is it a partial work stoppage? Is it a complete work stoppage? They cite to 0 testimony. There's not a single citation to the record over 7 days of testimony at this hearing and in a prior court matter with the exact same witnesses about the exact same events that were in evidence. President Hill's testimony, which was all over the place and completely impeached by video recordings of ATU meetings that were in evidence, was credited over the best evidence of what happened at union meetings and what Erek said, which would be the recorded video or the certified transcript from a court reporter I had paid, you know, or Erek had paid to produce and enter into evidence. All of it was just disregarded, and now it's been kicked up to the Illinois Public Labor Relations Board. And at their first meeting on Erek's case, they just decided, well, we haven't read any part of Erek's case. We actually don't know what the definition of concertedness means for concerted public activity. Why don't we put it over for another month? And Erek gave some eloquent public comments about the importance of the act and the importance of the board members to do their due diligence, to actually provide some review and supervision over administrative law judges that just punch out and, you know, deliver something that summer law clerk wouldn't be allowed to turn in and would be disciplined for if they worked at CTA. It's inconceivable to me how you have a hearing over 7 days. You have court testimony that the court reporter, you know, issued a bill for almost $20,000 for, and you don't cite to a single line of testimony. There's there's about 200 exhibits entered into evidence, and there was one exhibit cited, and it was misquoted, prejudicial to Erek. So it's just been a very difficult struggle. I know Erek has an ask for people to attend, to at least try to evince some emotion from the judges, but it's just another reminder. These are just political appointees who aren't held accountable to anyone. They don't expect people at public meetings. They don't expect their proceedings to receive scrutiny except from anybody other than an appellate court judge who receives even less scrutiny, and gets, elected once every, however many years. I believe it's 6 for the term for the first district, but don't quote me on it. I'm not a judicial political guy. So, the long story short for Erek's case, Erek was standing up for workers when they needed it most. He was literally invoking the text of the labor law. And he was still allowed to be railroaded because we have a completely atrophied labor board that dies in darkness, and it dies in the complacency and just utter negligence and laziness because nobody even knows the acronym. Never mind where to find the board. You look it up and you find the National Labor Relations Board, you complain there. Public employees don't even know about this agency that guarantees their rights. So, it's great to hear from everybody here who is knowledgeable, who is exercising their rights. And the more we work these muscles in support of collective action on behalf of the working class, potentially the stronger they'll get. And this is not, a call to action for some kind of partisan political movement to vote Democrat or whatever, or a total wedding of the labor movement to the institutions that have been created by the political partisans in the Democratic Party. Those are the exact same people we're seeking relief from in front of the labor board. We're asking the Democrats to police the Democrats. Obviously, the only solution is building a working class movement and using these institutions like the labor board where we can, and use it as often enough where we can shape and hold accountable and hold people to the letter of the law, because that's just clearly failed in Erek's case. So we're hoping to inject some pulse into the board members. Remind them how to read. We don't need, we don't need a rubber stamp on this ridiculous travesty and kicking it to the appellate court judge for relief. This should be the people's board, the workers' board, to enforce these rights, which does protect workers to discuss matters of concern to them, to discuss action, and to come together to represent their own interests, because those are often not aligned with CTA. So in closing, I'll let Erek speak to next steps, but that's essentially where we're at. We've submitted hundreds of pages of appeals to the labor board. We've quoted a record that's probably 10,000 pages long with individual citations impeaching each and every CTA witness, citing to the best evidence on the record of what happened and when. Erek has made many of those documents, if not all the documents, public. Certainly if you ever want to see any document that's on file, it's in the public record and you can see it. So I appreciate everybody hearing me out on this. And please, join in the fight to wake up the labor board so we don't have to appeal to the district court, because that is the next step. We are not going to accept this nonsense lying down.
Thank you so much, Nick. Robert, can you post the law itself, the picture? I think you had it I just want to say I'm sorry I didn't introduce you, Nick. That was Nicholas Kreitman. He's a labor attorney. You know, he's young, but he's been doing it for a long time. And I just want to thank him and his wife and all the time that they've donated to the Chicago Transit Authority workers, PACE workers. As he said, hundreds of hours, thousands of pages, and for what it is to defend the rights of workers, for their rights at the workplace, to defend these laws, which like he says have been atrophying, and we need to use them or we're going to lose them. Robert, you still there? Do you have access to that Okay, great. You want to read it? Maybe starting have and are protected. That's what Nick was just talking about.
Yeah, I'll read it. All right. So this is the act directly from the Illinois Labor Relations Board website, and anyone could get this rule or this act by going to the website, which is ILRB. I'm sorry. This can be found on the Illinois General Assembly website, which is ilga.gov. That's where you can find the Illinois Labor Relations Board Act. And it says, have and are protected in the exercise of the right of self-organization, and may form, join, or assist any labor organization to bargain collectively through representatives of their own choosing on questions of wages, hours, and other conditions of employment not excluded by Section 4 of this Act, and to engage in other concerted activities not otherwise prohibited by law for the purposes of collective bargaining or other mutual aid or protection free from interference, restraint, or coercion. And that's what my case is about. That's what my case that is happening on Tuesday, September 30th, 9:30 a.m. I will get the link out to supporters and friends that want to join. I don't have the link at this point, but my case is real simple. It's about CTA interfering with union activities. I was trying to attend a union meeting by trading one day off a month, and they allowed it for years, and all of a sudden it just stopped, and they wouldn't give me a reason why. They say, oh, we're going to get in trouble. We don't have any we you need to get to the union meeting on your own. We can't assist in that. Our workmanship, our work manpower is low right now. We can't let you take the day off, blah blah blah, all kind of excuses in the world. So I'll let Erek finish.
Okay, well, just a few things. One is we went, well before I was a board member, elected board member, I was kind of a worker activist, and we went. I know Andre's not on this call, but he's a retired worker. He and a couple dozen of us went around to different park districts around the Chicago Transit Authority bus garages. We had about 500 or 600 workers in each garage, but they wouldn't let us on property, so we went off property, McDonald's or something like that, and we taught the law, we taught the rights, we taught the contract, and this is one of the documents that we used. And it's ironic, I don't know if the right word, that these rights are being used against us and trying to attack our self-organization, not just refuse to follow the law and protect the law. I just wanted Erek Basir to talk a little bit. I'll raise the issue, but I think what's really going on here, and I'd like to hear your opinion, and Robert as well, anyone else on the call, is that the city administration, through their management at the Chicago Transit Authority, is concerned that the workers of the Chicago Transit Authority, and not just us, but the working class generally, we do the work, and we're very moral people. We bring home the money for a family, extended families. A lot of us are retirees, so we have grandchildren. At the Chicago Transit Authority, we're fortunate enough, many of us, not all of us, but many of us, to have health insurance. Some job descriptions don't have that. And when you're retired, you're able to continue that into future generations. It's a very important part of the working class in Chicago, which is under attack. And so when things like the pandemic happened, and when the George Floyd, the protest against state murder occurred, they wanted to keep us out of the discussion. They did not want us to have our serious organization of our union to be able to have a discussion, debate, vote on what our position was. They could not tolerate that. And that's some of the reasons why these laws are supposed to be there, so that we have the right to speak to each other, the right to make collective decisions, and the right to use our unions as our tools. And they were afraid of that. That's why they're going after worker activists, honorable unionists, and to try to keep control of the most powerful tool workers have at this point, which is their labor unions, among others. So I was hoping, one of the things I became real convinced of is, as I was a transit worker for about 20 years as a bus driver, but even more so when I became a shop steward and I had to defend workers. We went back to back fighting against management, unfortunately, often corrupt union officials, which were kind of getting us from several different sides. And I learned that my coworkers are some of the most amazing people on earth and very capable of making the decisions about public transportation. And you see all over the region discussions about public transportation directions going, but very little, if any, discussion about transit workers. It's largely because of this attack against us for even being able to talk to each other. So I was wondering if I know, Erek, you've been a board member for it's been a couple years now. You've been able to defend some of your coworkers. I was wondering if you could talk up some of your coworkers, why it's so important that the society generally defend the rights of workers to talk to each other, elect representatives of their choosing, to form organizations like a union, and for that union to be free, to be independent from city and management control. If he's still on.
Well, thank you, Attorney Nick, for what you're doing. It's very important, and Erek and Robert for speaking up. And that's it. This is what you're saying, is that we've got to stand up. There's no one else gonna do it except us, and we have to fight, and we have to take control of our unions, and we have to take control of where we work and where we live, instead of giving it up to these politicians and the billionaire corporate warmongering bloodsuckers of the poor. And Robert, I wanted to know, it's also important for everybody to know that like Erek Slater, Robert was unjustly fired. And Robert, you were unjustly fired based on an anonymous complaint, which is a contractual violation. We cannot, according to our contract, our collective bargaining agreement, we cannot be punished based on anonymous complaints. Robert, is the 30th going to deal with that, or is that separate? And also, could you tell us what we discovered regarding the status of your grievance regarding the termination?
Yeah, thanks, Erek, for mentioning that. So the judge, we amended the unfair labor practice to include the unjust termination, but the judge didn't allow the termination to be included, but they did allow retaliation. They did allow retaliation to be part of the of the unfair labor practice. So we may speak very little on the unjust termination, but it's definitely retaliation. There's been retaliation since the onset for workers like myself, Erek Slater, Eric Bazier, and anybody who speaks out against the mismanagement, against the corruption that's going on again at CTA. So yeah, as far as the grievance goes, we still don't have to this day. We've did multiple FOIAs, and CTA is still hiding. They're still hiding. We still don't have to this day the paperwork, the work summary. The work summary is a document that every complaint gets. It tells you what time the complaint came in. It tells you who called it in, the person's first and last name, their information, their phone number, their address. We still don't have that information. So we did numerous FOIA requests, and all the FOIA requests that we get have that very important document missing. So why are they hiding this? We know this complaint is fake. We know that this complaint is retaliation. So we will prove that point on Tuesday, September 30th. So we hope that you guys can join us. Thank you.
Okay, right on. And one other thing to announce, the next meeting of the Illinois Public Labor Relations Board is on the 23rd of October at 10 a.m. And it's on. I don't think we have the online version of it yet. They should be publishing it hopefully a little bit more than a few days before, like they did last time. But it's physically at 160 North LaSalle Street.
And important to note, they do not allow public comment via the WebEx application. So it's encouraged, if you can, show up in person if you want to attend.
Okay, I did not know that. That's good to know.
You will also need to bring a government ID because that's needed for access to the building.
Okay, yeah. So we had several people who wanted to speak, but they shut off the video last time.
Well, the video doesn't even allow you to
Understood. Okay, so if workers could come and speak in the public comment period, workers, not just workers, but allies, supporters, transit activists, etc. The people who want to work together with workers to improve our conditions, and the workers who want to improve the riding conditions for the public. I think we have quite an alliance that's potential. So it's at 160 North LaSalle at 10 a.m. on October 23rd. I believe last time it was at room S401. It may be at the same place. Meet there a few minutes early. Come, be proud. Show your CTA colors. I think also we're having a letter writing campaign. We're going to have emails being sent to the board. We're asking them to rule in favor of Robert and also myself against the Chicago Transit Authority, and to defend the law that is supposed to defend workers' rights to collaborate with each other, form organizations, talk to each other, and not shut us up. So if anyone else want to say anything further, I thank you everyone who came on this call.
Erek, you got anything else?
Maybe you should, I think people should also know that, Brother Robert is in a financial situation that requires donations. So, please, anybody who's listening to this, please contribute for donations for his different lawsuits. Thank you.
Yeah, we will get that information out. We will attach that we will attach the ways that you can donate. We may or may not start a GoFundMe because these costs are racking up. CTA mismanagement is dead fast on punishing us, and we don't have a whole floor of lawyers like the CTA does, and we don't have an infinite, unlimited budget like the CTA lawyers do. So, so we have very limited resources and hours and time to make these things happen. So anything you guys can contribute, I would greatly appreciate it. And thank you so much for watching this.